A little bit about me. I started my career with FileMaker 96, FileMaker 3 back then, started ClickWorks 2005. I'm certified in all versions, father of two teenagers, 17 and 18-year-old, older than some. I love sailing and I love playing guitar. So I had an aspiring jazz guitar. ClickWorks, we are a platinum partner based in Antwerp, Belgium. We are a team of 15 people, and we are also the co-organizers of the European conference in THU. So the fourth edition this year will be held in Belgium again, and we do that together with Scrum. So we switch countries, Sweden, Belgium, every year. This year we will be in the old historic district of the beautiful city of Antwerp. You're all welcome to join us. Make a trip to Europe. So the agenda will be mostly live demo. What can go wrong? It works, right? So like about 40 minutes of demo, a short summary, a couple of slides, and then plenty of time for questions. Right? So let me, without further ado, switch to the browser. And this is the typical Studio login screen. So the URL will be studio.platform.com. It will be available for free now. You have a FileMaker annual licenses or perpetual, you will get free access to Studio, and you can create a certain number of views, and it depends on when you want to share, with how many users and so on. And then there are certain limitations. So of course I can use my name and password to log in, but one new thing here is I can also use, for instance, my Microsoft login. So external authentication providers can now be hooked to Studio and can have a two-factor authentication and all that. So I'm going to log in using my Microsoft login, since I already logged in to other tools. I will be immediately in the Studio home screen. The loading times might be slow because I'm in the ETS, so early testing for Studio, and I'm testing also the European server in Frankfurt. So all that data is now being pulled over across the ocean all the time. So bear with me, loading times might be slower than what you will experience here in the United States. Okay. So with permission from the Claris team, I'm going to show you stuff from the Claris Studio kitchen. That's not yet released, but that's been sitting there for already quite a long time. And it's very, very promising. And I'm very excited, as you probably noticed. And I hope at the end of this session, you will be excited too for the things, the promises that Studio did themselves. So what I want to do is to build the dashboard with you, and not just some simple, stupid dashboard, but this is what I'm aiming for, like quite complicated dashboard with multiple frames, multiple views working together. I'm gonna run this. And the use case is projects and tasks. So one project, multiple tasks, one too many. Simple case. I hope everybody is a little bit involved with projects and tasks. So what do I have here after a long loading screen? I have my projects to the right, so to the left, excuse me. Right now there are three projects. And as I'm navigating to those, my dashboard updates. So all those other panes are updated, okay? This is what we're going to be building today. And so, for instance, these are my tasks in the ClickMan project. That's our internal ERP system. And so I can move tasks from to do to in progress and watch what's happening. There's just that one chart updating in real time. So that's one of the beautiful things of Claris Studio. Sometimes it's better to look at tasks like in a calendar and, oh my God, over the weekend I need to move this earlier, for instance. So a calendar view is more practical, handling the same types of data in a different way. Yep. And for instance, a timeline is interesting to handle those same tasks, but to schedule for more time, or for instance, moved into another month and looks what's happening again. This backlog chart is updating your build. Now, try to imagine how much time it will need you to build this in FileMaker. 1 day, 2 days, maybe without testing, 3 days. Okay. Now I have 35 minutes left, 40 minutes left. So let's do this, okay? And I'm literally gonna start from scratch. I'm going back to the overview screen, the hub. So I have this hub created, or this app, if you will, Claris Engage 2025 table. And I'm going to click the plus sign. And so this is probably what you have already seen. If you already tried Studio a little bit, is like simple views, a Kanban view, list detail or something, and they're all tied to one table. That's a limitation right now. Okay. So how did I do that? All that related stuff and all that updating. Well, what will be coming soon, I hope, are these custom views. It's also what Robert demoed this morning in opening keynote. That was also a custom view. So I'm going to pick a custom view, and this is not yet available. This is in early testing, but will be available soon. I need to give it a name, so that's called demo 35. And we are still debating this, so just I did some preparations, and I can tie this. I did some groundwork first, so I have my projects and my tasks tables already there, and my tasks are related to the projects I created related to. That's some preparation.
When you say there, where do you mean it's there? Is it a FileMaker? Where is it? Studio?
It's a Studio. It's just to Studio spreadsheets view. I will show you them in a minute. So let me pick project as the basis for my dashboard. Okay, I get an empty canvas. I can fine make an empty layout. I love it. Except there's this toolbar being thrown on it. We're still debating in the kitchen if this is good or not. They will probably create something like a FileMaker type of custom view, where all that FileMaker familiar stuff is being added automatically. I don't like it because this is FileMaker. This is old. I want to build a new dashboard. So I just to answer that question, sir. So these are all the views in the same hub. And so I have prepared a project table with just project name, owner, it's related to a company and it's related to multiple tasks. And so I have created a tasks spreadsheet all in Studio right now with task names, task owners, start date, end date, and so on. Okay, so nothing fancy there. Switching back to my demo. Okay, so this toolbar, I'm not going to talk about it right now. So I'm going to just remove it. And unfortunately, right now, it leaves me with this calculation. And so I need to reset this a little bit. Okay, now think about the dashboard that I've shown you previously. So I need some kind of header pane. I need some kind of list to the left. And then 3 sections in the middle. Okay, let's do it. What you're seeing now is a so-called single view or single frame view. But you can go to view settings and you can pick more advanced frame arrangements. So I'm going to start with the most complicated one, header left, right. So that's already coming close to what we want. So I would like some header over there. I can lock it so that it cannot be resized by the user, for instance. Okay. I can have this list to the left. All right, and then I have this big frame over here to the right, but I want to divide it into more sections. And that can be done easily. Clicking on the plus sign, add frame below, add frame below. So this is the basic setup of the dashboard I'm going to build. Okay, cool, right? It's a bit ugly right now, but we are not going to worry about it for now. What can go wrong? Okay, let me add a title. So you have these field objects, and since we tie this to the project table, it knows which fields are there. So these are my project fields. But there is also something like static objects. So I can use a text block here. I can enter a title. Yeah, little objects. Objects. Make it like heading 1 or 2 or something. And move it around a little bit. So I'm going to align it. Let's not waste too much time on layout design. Something like that. Okay. Align this. Oh yes, one of the view setting options is to show grid lines, and these can be really helpful if you want to align stuff. So I'm going to activate it right now. So I have a title, and I leave it at that. And now let's work on that project list on the left. It's there where it's becoming interesting. And we are going to show some data. So let's select this. There are two ways to do this. I can click add object here, or I can click add object here. And then you find some data controls. These can show record sets. And the thing that I've shown you is a so-called card list. Now, look what happens if I'm adding this card list, and I can just click it, or I can click and drag. So there are several options. Okay, there we go. Make it a bit bigger. And this is one of the beautiful things about Studio. I just added this object, and it figured out on its own that the most preferred field to use is the project name display. That's a setting in Studio. You can set fields as preferred fields, and those fields will automatically be picked in those card lists, or in Kanban boards, or in timelines, and so on. So you don't need to set them on your own. It's like some kind of cleverness going on. Yep. So it's already there, and I can add some options. For instance, I want a quick search. Get that search bar on top. Or then filtering, sorting, gonna skip it for now. Allow editing records gives me that add record button below. And so let me just show you what happens by just dragging this one simple list object on this frame where source is set to projects. I'm gonna run this again. Sorry for the long delay. This is Frankfurt. Okay, there we go. So my title on top, okay, it's a bit ugly. It takes a while to load, that's the delay, but you see there are three projects. My same three projects are there. My quick search is working. And I can add new records. And I get this kind of like a card window for free. It's included with a list control. So I can actually start creating projects like test, engage. Everything is there. All my fields are there. And so on. I didn't do anything. It has created that automatically on its own. No AI involved there. It's just the entire table being displayed in a card window. But I get a card window, I get a quick search, I get edit controls, all that. So in just 5-6 minutes in this, imagine how much time it will take you to build this file. You will need some script, you will need some kind of stroke trigger and so on. And then you're already like working for a couple of hours. So this is the project list. This was basic stuff. Okay. Now let's do more advanced stuff. So in the other frames, I want data that will be linked to that list of files. So if I click on the project, other data should be displayed. And so let's start with the first one here on top. I want to show 3 key fields, for instance, from my project, like the project owner and risk score or something. So going back to the design view, it opened in a new tab, so I can easily go back to the other tab. I'm in developer mode here. I don't need so much space, a little bit. I'm going to use this method now to add objects. And I'm going to pick a couple of project fields, like for instance, project owner. And then other key fields like risk, opportunity, that kind of thing. Let's test this again. So it's always loading the view first, and then a couple of seconds later, it's loading the data. And right now, it's not really working because Claris Studio has no clue of which record to show in that section. So we need to create some kind of link between this frame and my list control the other frame. And this is the hardest part of this section. Bear with me, it's the end of the day, I know, but we are gonna need to do some more complex stuff. And the best way to do that is to prepare yourself a little bit and start applying some kind of naming convention. Because you see, what did we get for free? We got subview 13, subview 12, and etc. We're gonna claim that a little bit. For instance, the left side here says subview 12, and I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna use a little prefix to indicate that this is a view, and I'm gonna call this, like, for instance, project list. And this view, I'm gonna call it projects. Sorry. This one is not really important, but I could as well. And it's header or something. By the way, this is linked to the project table. It can also be linked to nothing, since they're only static. Since they're only static controls there, I don't need a data source. Doesn't matter, I think. So I have my view set up. Let me do the same thing for the others. And as you can see, there's no view here, but I have the opportunity to create a new one straight from frame. So I'm gonna create one, call this one view task detail, or maybe Kanban, because I want a Kanban board there. And I want some charts on the bottom, so I'm gonna add a new subview there as well. Call it view task charts. I like to clean up a little bit, set everything up, use some naming convention, and my future self will be happy with that. Right. So this is my basic layout. Did I forget something in the course? Oh yeah, I can click on this list as well, and Studio automatically named the list, but hidden behind the second tab is also the object name. So I can also assign names to objects, like for instance, list project. Why not? Okay, with this setup, it will become much easier now to link this view to the selected project on the left view in the project list. I'm gonna go click in this view, and you notice the colored border around it now. If you click on a view, attention, don't click on the object, click on the view itself, and then the pane updates here. And so you get data source, which is currently the project table, but there's no record data provided. And I have the opportunity to specify a calculation. And then the text updates to calculate a record ID from. That's my pointer. That's what's going to specify which project to display. So I need to build a formula that refers to that list control on the left, right? Without AI. And this is the most scary thing in Studio. I get a blank calculation editor, not like in FileMaker where you have a list of functions. So what do I do now? I'm stuck. Okay? They are working on that. They will give you a list of functions, etc. But right now you're stuck. How, in heaven's name, will I be able to refer to this view? What do I need to type?
If it's empty, is it empty?
My name.
How did I name it? I don't remember it anymore, but I know that I used a prefix, right? So I'm going to type V from view. But this is my future self being happy. So I get all these views, and okay, this one, project list, and it's JavaScript based. So we're dealing with objects. So in object-oriented notation, you have objects, and then you type period, a dot, and then you get like related objects or objects beneath, etc. So what is happening in my project list view? There's one control, it's the project list control. And it gives us access to two things, to total count of projects, very interesting, and also the selected row. That's what we need. Selected row, and in that selected row, yes, we have a record ID. So what I did is creating a calculation. The most scary part was the first letter time. There is it. And now we are referring to the record ID from the other view, the project list. Okay, let's try this. Gonna refresh. Allow that to load again. Here's my data, and you see the difference. So apparently, this should be the owner of the first project. When I click on another project, it should update. There we go. Not bad, huh? Okay, all the rest is easy. This was the hardest part, writing that calculation and understanding how to refer or to point to objects in other views. There's one caveat, though. So bear with me. Hold on. Okay, what I want to do next is that Kanban board showing tasks for the selected projects. Right? Going back to the other tab, I'm in developer mode here. I'm gonna tidy up this little bit, maybe lock it as well. So I want the Kanban board over here. Oh yes, I must do two things. First, I click in the view, and so there's no data source available, but I can refer to the tasks table this time. And add a data control, Kanban, go. Okay, let's try this.
Are there going to be shortcut keys like Shift F5 to refresh? Do you know if they're going to do anything like that?
Yeah, what I did there was just hitting the regular refresh.
Only Shift F5 or something.
No, just refresh. Yeah, regular shortcut key.
Yeah.
The main thing is I'm working two tabs. So in the left tab, I have my developer view, and it automatically opens up a new tab, display the data. Wow, is this working? It appears to be, but sorry to disappoint you, it is not. It's basically displaying all tasks. So I need to apply a kind of filter to those tasks to limit them only to the selected projects. So we're gonna do something different than what we did before in the first. Okay, switching back to developer mode, clicking on this Kanban board, and it's not bad because I just added the object. I didn't configure anything at all, but Studio figured out on its own that it will be a good idea to group them by state. Perfect. And that excellent candidates to display on those Kanban cards will be like the title and maybe the ticket number or something. So it figured that out on its own without me doing anything or assigning. So that's what I love about Studio. There's some cleverness behind, which is lacking in 5. You need to set up everything. Okay. That said, I need to apply a filter, and the filter is a bit hidden below, and yeah, it's a bit odd. It's called format, but you find a filter here. You can specify some hard-coded field conditions, like only status in progress or something, or again, you can use more advanced, like a calculation. You can filter on the foreign key because these tasks are referring to related projects. So I have a foreign key, project ID in the tasks. So I should filter on the project ID from the left view. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, let's do it. Again, no help, no AI, nothing in the pocket. So I'm going to refer again to the selected project in the left view. Could have copy pasted that. Project lists, list projects, selected through record ID. I'm getting the hang of it, right? And now comes the complicated part. This is the second hurdle in this presentation. I need to match this with the project ID from the tasks table. So it's JavaScript, so it's not just a single equal sign. I need a double equal sign, and now I need to point to my tasks table. I've already prepared that, so I use the prefix T for table. Or did I? Yeah, I did. So I have my tasks table over there, and now it's easy again. So I have a project ID, and right now in the current ETS version, it's still there, but I need to refer to the role value. Not just a value, but a role. You don't know what that means. I believe that the data is what's being displayed in drop-downs and something. Value, I don't know what it is, and role value is. That's what I learned. So that's the two things that we need to know right now in the current iteration of the ETS, but they are constantly improved. So what I just did was I used the same pointer to the selected project, but this time I'm applying a filter. I'm comparing it with the project ID from the tasks table, and only if they match, it shall display in my Kanban. Right. This is all live. This is no video recording, so bear with me. I'm gonna go back, refresh.
So click that.
Is this working?
Click on the next
So I'm gonna click on the next. Oh my god. Only thing I did basically was write that one line of formulas. All the rest was handled by Studio. So we're not even 30 minutes into the session and we already built some quite cool stuff. Okay, there are some details to set up, like in this Kanban board, for instance, the first column not categorized. We don't need it there, so I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. Going back to that Kanban board. So remember, we set a filter, the calculated filter. I have some options here. So it's grouped by status, but I can hide columns I don't want. So for instance, the first one, don't want it to be visible, so I can just hide it to clean up Kanban board. I can also specify the option to edit records. Now I get an add record button in each column, and so I can use it again in an interactive way, and I will get that free card window again, which in FileMaker you need to create yourself. Next time. Yeah, loading again.
If you make an edit to that, is that a future release where we'll edit back to the FileMaker data, or is that in the current? He showed it in the demo this morning where he edited in Studio and it edited the data in FileMaker.
That's what they're currently working on. I haven't touched that yet. So there's a so-called Claris Kitchens where we partners are involved and we can give our feedback, and this is what we receive. And then there's some, I don't know, Uber kitchen or something, or Hindu kitchen, and that's what they're showing us. So that's what they're working on, a syncing mechanism between FileMaker and Studio, because there are a lot of use cases where you want the data in two places, because it's faster. ESS Plus, the thing that I showed in my 5 minutes of fame there in the keynote this morning, right now it is very slow, and so it can be more efficient to just sync data back and forth between data. That's what they are working on, but I'm not going to show that today. I have no access to that. Thanks for the question. So I added the option to edit records, so I can now expand this, and again, I get a view on my tasks in like so-called edit mode without me doing anything. That's included with the Kanban. So you get this card window, these edit options for free. What is very cool is that Studio by default also tracks a revision history. So this task has been updated many times in the past, and I can go back to a previous revision and I can restore this one. I can go back in time. There's a built-in time machine in Claris Studio. Isn't that cool? Imagine if you need to build that in FileMaker, how much time it will take. Okay. All right, Kanban board, project details. Let's work on the charts. We have some time left. So, what did I have? I had like number of tasks by status, number of tasks by SME, and then this bar chart with the backlog. Remember, number of tasks by month. Oh my God, these bleed charts. Let's do it. So, first I'm going to click on the Kanban board. I'm going to go back to that filter, that we built here below. I'm going to copy paste this, just in case. Because for the charts, it's basically the same thing. You color filter the tasks, paste charts for project. I have, oh yes, I always forget. I click in the view, and the thing I always forget is to set it up to link it to the base table below. So by default, if you're adding new views, they come with an empty data source. Let's pick tasks, and only then if I click add objects, then these data controls become available. Otherwise, they have hidden because there is no data. I want a chart. Let's go for a pie chart by status. And it already automatically did that for me. So it took the tasks table. It figured out that the status field would be a good candidate for segmentation. It figured out that the record count in this case will be a good idea to do, just counting the number of tasks by status. So it's already working. Or is it not?
Filter.
It is working?
No, you need filter.
Why not?
Filter.
Yeah, I need to apply the filtering. Right now it won't work, but it will show all times. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing as we did with the Kanban board. I'm going to go to format, strangely enough, calculation. I could paste in the formula that I just copied as a backup measure, but why not walk through it again? So I'm pointing towards that view on the left with a project list, where we have a list control with a selected row and a record ID. And I'm comparing that to my table tasks, where I have a project fields. And this odd row value same filter. I could have copy pasted it, but I just wanted to go over it once. Let's try it now. Now it displays nothing because this calculation cannot be resolved right now. So refreshing. Yeah. Here we go. So, clicking on the project now updates two different views, the Kanban view and charts. Okay. I want two more charts, one by owner, for instance, task owner, and then one bar chart with a backlog. Okay. A lot of work in other tools, but not Claris Studio, because when I click on these three dots here, I can duplicate this chart with all its settings included and so on. So let's do that. I'm going to duplicate it. Move it over. Yeah, I have no mouse here, so I'm just duplicate it. And the only thing I need to change is, instead of displaying a chart by status, I want to display a chart by SME. So just one click, the filter should still be there since I duplicated the object. So I'm done. So why not move on and immediately add a third chart? Duplicate again. Drag it out of the way a little bit. Oh, I could have made my life so much easier by going to view settings and set the content width to large, and then I have more space to work on. Okay. So this one should not be a pie chart, but I'm going for a bar chart in this case. And I want to group this time on due date. I want to see my backlog by date due. And another thing I love about Studio. Look what happens if I pick due date. It automatically suggests to group it. And I can pick months and I'm done. I don't want an access title or access label. Just clean this up. Do I?
Entering limit, right?
Refreshing again. How much time did it take? 5 minutes. Wow, is this working? Well, yeah, should be clicking, dating. It's a bit ugly right over here, so I'm gonna use the size of those charts a little bit.
Same time.
And get rid of those labels because they're pretty self-explanatory lines. There you go. Much better, right? Thank you. And it's working. So basically two main concepts, either finding a record pointer for that first top section where I have detail, project detail, and I need for the project ID to point to the right record, or filtering, which I'm applying to this Kanban board and to those 3 charts. And I can just duplicate and just tweak some things. So you can build things very quickly in Studio. We have plenty of time left, I believe, so why not do some more advanced stuff? Because maybe in my first demo you saw me switching between Kanban board and timeline and calendar. How complicated is that? Okay. Well, what is happening is that in this frame I'm displaying a certain sub view. As you noticed, I can add any amount of sub views that I want. How cool would it be if I could dynamically alter the view being displayed in a certain frame? Let's give it a try. I'm going to create a new sub view. Right now the UI is a bit ugly, maybe, but provide feedback to Claris about it. So I'm going to display the task timeline, for instance. And while I'm at it, immediately create the next one. So I showed you a task, a task calendar as well. This is me applying my naming conventions, a prefix for the type of object, a 3-letter code for like the module, task, TSK, PRO projects, and so on and so on. That's what we do at ClickWorks in FileMaker anyway. Did I say FileMaker? And then, yeah, of course, calendar timeline and so on. So I have now 3 different subviews set up. So the default one should be the Kanban board. And how can I now switch between those? Well, not much scripting involved. There are some built-in button actions in Studio. So I'm going to use buttons. Okay. And I'm going to place in, why not? I have some space left here, so reuse this a bit. And I'm going to add some buttons here. Let's start with the first one. We go page theme color or custom color. I didn't play with colors too much, but you can figure that out on your own. The most interesting thing are these button actions. And what we need will be, which one?
Show subview.
Show subview in. And guess what we will get as a second option? We get a target and we see our frames. And now I regret not naming all my. What? You could have told me. So, oh my God, I forgot to name them. Let's do that. Because I need to refer to this one. So let's call this one like frame.
Middle. Kanban.
Yeah.
No, not Kanban.
Oh, because you're going to change it.
Not Kanban. The view is called Kanban, timeline calendar, but the frame is the thing that will stay. So I don't call my frame Kanban. I call my frame top or middle or bottom or something. Thank you for the question, by the way. It's an excellent opportunity to talk about the difference between views, the content, and the structure. Structure remains, the content can change. Thank you.
The views, are they available throughout the entire hub? So you can reuse the views?
The question was, the views, are they available through the entire hub?
Not yet.
But there is that promise of reusable layout modules, which we are crying for in FileMaker, right? But yes, you get it. That's exactly what I'm also anticipating, that we will be able to reuse these components that we are now crafting. Took us a full hour to build it, so we will be able to reuse it.
They're currently only within this. What
Right
would you
now.
call this?
A view.
And then but then you have like subviews.
Yeah.
So the subviews are only available in this larger view.
Right now they are. But we have been talks, and it is the goal to get to real reusable components and reusable subviews across other views in the same map. Then
So you could copy and paste, spike it to a new one.
Yeah.
And you copy and paste, spike that whole, like if I wanted to put that, I want to duplicate it, could I copy and paste?
well, if you dynamically link subviews to multiple different views in the same hub, you won't need to copy paste. You just point to that subview, and if you update it in one place, it will update in another place. That's the promise. It's not there yet, but that's the promise. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about Studio, because you see all these potential, right? But they are also working on what you are referring to. They're also working on a copy-paste mechanism where your Studio view is represented as like one giant big JSON chunk of text, which you could then load into another hub or into someone else's Claris Studio environment, and which could also potentially be generated by AI instead of me assembling all this together. So FileMaker is XML based, as you probably knew. Studio is JSON based, but there is also this promise of automatically generating views, which was demoed, by the way, this morning by this implement. What were we doing? Oh yes, I was naming my frame, and then we had this discussion about naming the frame either Kanban, no, or middle section. I'm gonna call this frame middle because it'll stay there, but the content will change. Going back to this button, so if I click this button, oh, let's call this button the Kanban button. And if I click this button, show subview in, target, which frame middle, subview to show, the Kanban view is shown in the middle frame. Let's add a second button, use duplicate. Call this one calendar. Just change this action, so the middle frame is the target, and we now refer to the calendar view. So we are changing the view in the frame. Duplicate once more. Timeline. It's almost too easy, right?
If it works.
Yeah, if it works. I have 15 minutes to fix it if it doesn't. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the slow loading time. This is really due to server being very far away right now. But this is still working. Always important to test the existing. And now this, oh, let's take this project again, sorry. This, why is it not working? Oh,
You didn't tie it to the lift.
it's not good. No. I believe it's stupid. Sorry, it's very stupid. I'm going to show you. I believe it's simply because you have no objects on it. So we prepared everything. But yes, of course, I put the calendar object here. So, new view. Again, link it to the task table. Add the data control. What was it? Calendar? Yep. And then you're right. Apply that same filter again. I copy pasted it, so shortcut here. Okay. And then do the same for the other view. What was it? Timeline. So again, choose the table. Add the objects. Apply the filter.
What?
All right, so now all these views have objects in them. Refreshing. Yeah, just gonna go for this.
How do you know it was adding views and not replacing them?
Yeah, just 1 second. Just 1 second. Hold on. Let's first check if this works. Right. And there we go. So it was just a matter of adding that object. By the way, this, like I'm moving this from 1 month to the other, and the chart updating is all happening in the background automatically. There's not decided to build that. So, you know, for your question is
Yes, when you were setting up the views there in that middle frame, how did you know you're adding and not replacing the view?
yeah, how do I know that I'm adding views, not replacing existing views? Good question. This is a bit of a confusing UI for managing views, right? It's a bit rudimentary. Is that the word? Yeah, it's a bit like basic, but this is still the early testing. So I bet they're going to work on a real kind of object explorer because it quickly can become quite complicated, as you can see. And indeed, now it happened to me that I've overwritten existing views because I was confused between adding new and editing existing. But adding new is creating on the plus button, like I just did. Editing an existing one is just clicking on the pencil to rename it. That's the only options you have. But I can switch things there, so I can switch from Kanban to timeline in developer mode. I can work, but I can also set its properties. It's hard with the Kanban. Select the view itself. There we go. Is that an answer to your question?
Could you have also made the buttons work as a hide or display which of the views?
Yeah. Hide or display. What I could do, for instance, is hide the entire middle frame. Just cut it out. Why not? Let's try. I'm improvising right now, so it will not be difficult. Maybe let's go for a blank button. And there is some action like yeah. No, there's a different way to do it. Sorry. There's a visibility property in the view. Where is
It
it?
was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ability.
Okay. Let us figure that out together. We can work with it. I was not prepared for that, but it's somewhere in the options. It's a visibility option, which you can then manipulate via a button. So it's the other way around in that case. And you can also wonder why not an action. Well, still early testing, etc. So things are coming together. Other question? Yep.
Does the filter calculation engine support other JavaScript functions like conditionals?
Yes. Does it support other JavaScript calculation functions? Yes, there's a manual. You can Google or you can search Studio calculation manual, and then you will find all available functions. Currently, it's quite limited. It's not up to par with FileMaker's long list of functions, but they're adding functions at each iteration. And it's JavaScript based. So everything that is available in JavaScript will eventually become available in Studio.
Is there a web viewer or iframe that you can put in one of those views?
A web viewer that you could integrate in the Studio view?
Yeah, this just to run like any arbitrary code instead of being limited to what Claris Studio can do. Can you like embed a web page or write your own code and have full HTML in there?
Good question. Not that I know of right now. What they are working on right now is the opposite. Studio will be able to run in an iframe, and so it will be suitable to run in a web viewer in FileMaker. So you could use Studio views within FileMaker, and then use Claris Connect, for instance, for the interaction between FileMaker and Studio. So that's very promising. But the other way around, having just regular JavaScript code running in Studio, not right now. And I believe they will be very careful about it because it might break things as well as you could, as I can see videos.
What about custom functions?
Not available yet. Not available. It's a request that we also make as partners, as developers. Right now, no code. But the promise is there. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I had the gentleman first.
Is this demo available for us to show?
Unfortunately,
our
not
own
because the copy paste option is not yet available. But a recording of this video is being made as we speak, and so you will be able to watch me doing it step by step, and so you can slow it down or speed it up.
They said early summer.
I think you had a question in front.
I think they
Edit
said
the
early
colors on the
summer.
charts. Can you edit the colors on the charts?
No, for all this to be available.
Oh,
To us.
Customers' colors mean something to them.
yeah, of course,
said
but
that
right now, no, it's quite limited. So, no, short answer, no, not yet. There is some CSS behind because behind it's all web page, CSS, JavaScript, and so on. So the potential is there, but it's not really exposed as well. Yeah.
You said that initially when you very first started, you said you sort of did some data prep with your tables and getting it all set up. Can you give us a quick look at kind of what you did to set it up? So
Sure. What did I do to structure? I created a spreadsheet view. I called it projects. By the way, I set the project name as the preferred field. So that's why it was picked automatically in the Studio in the list view. I created a so-called related fields. So this is a related field, allow relating to multiple records. So there's no relationship diagram in Studio yet. You just create a related field, and behind the scenes, it does its magic. So you don't need to define the fields first, then go to in the relationships, then drag one field on the other.
So it's like
Feels so outdated. So you just create a related field and it works.
Okay.
I added an owner field, which by the way is a special type of field only existing in Studio right now, the current user field. It refers to all the users that have access to that hub. It automatically updates if you add users. Very interesting concept. Due date, it's just a regular date field. These are all related fields. So I'm linking to company, I'm linking to a project manager, I'm linking to a budget spreadsheet. These are some rating fields. And then I can add new fields by clicking this plus sign. That's just what I did. Created a new spreadsheet view, and I just added fields. So this is currently available in production. You can do this
So
yourself.
rather than entering the data directly into Studio, could you import a CSV or?
Yes.
Yeah, your Kanban was fed off of the selected row property from, I think it was view project list. Is there a similar property on the chart for the selected segment? So you could click like a piece of a pie chart and pass that to the next chart?
Not yet, but since it's JavaScript, the potential is there. Yes. So right now I cannot click on a segment in the chart and have some action happen, but that could very well be in the future.
I just question about like privilege sets and users.
Yes.
For instance, you were when you showed the revisions and the ability to revert. I assume that there's a way to make that read only so that a user cannot revert if we don't want.
It's a good one. You turn it off. Yeah. Yeah, we have a couple of minutes left, right? Plenty of time. Plenty of time. But excellent question. I can show you something, and it goes maybe in the direction that you're asking. You see this allow editing records, and you can configure quite a couple of things there. I don't know by heart. So the add in the you can configure the defaults. So for instance, what I could do is set the default project when creating a new task, so that it be linked automatically to the correct projects. And you can also configure the dialog. So you can hide certain fields, but there's no option to hide the record history yet. So not yet. But talk to Claris, please. Ask them. Let's put some pressure on the Sorry, you were first, and then the gentleman.
Yeah. Isn't there a way to synchronize your data between FileMaker and Studio?
It's coming. That's the keynote this morning. They were showing it.
Oh, I missed the keynote, but I thought before you could push data from FileMaker to Studio.
CSV import.
What's that?
CSV.
Yeah, import export.
CSV?
No.
You use Studio to
What you can do right now with the Claris is if you have a Claris ID, so if you have a valid Studio login, which is now available for free to anyone with a FileMaker license, you can go to FileMaker and directly add a Studio table to your relationships graph.
Okay.
And it will be like an external data source. They call it ESS+. You have
Okay.
experience with SQL tables in FileMaker. It's the same concept. And it works beautifully. So the tables are loaded. Not all fields. Like, for instance, these rating fields that I showed you, they don't exist in FileMaker. So they will not be available in FileMaker. But the fields that you can, like date fields and text fields, will be available in FileMaker. You can add other fields in FileMaker.
And it
as
works
well.
both ways, right? Bidirectional?
And it works bidirectional. So you're updating FileMaker, it will update in Studio and so on. This advantage right now, it's slow. It's very slow.
Oh.
So if you go above 100 records, it takes seconds to do. They are working on that. They're working on that. So there will be ESS Plus, and it will remain, but there will also be this new synchronizing technology being done this morning, which can also make sense to have the data in two different places and not having to worry about that interaction. Other questions? Yeah. Sorry, gentlemen.
I'm just curious. This all looks great on desktop. What happens when I look at that amazing dashboard you just built on my iPad or my iPhone?
Excellent question. Thank you for asking. You give me a great opportunity. Thank you. So what if I squeeze this window, because it looks excellent on a desktop, but what will happen on an iPad or on an iPhone? Well, what's the main difference between Studio and FileMaker? FileMaker can resize, right? But Studio is responsive. So look at those charts below. They have automatically gone from a horizontal arrangement to a vertical arrangement. Isn't that cool? This is the main difference between Studio and FileMaker, is the responsive Of course, my view is not very well adapted for mobile use, I admit. I could have made that section smaller, but Studio is doing everything it can to render it appropriately.
So you can't like hide panes or have panes swap out a subview for mobile that's more mobile optimized right now. There's no like breakpoints we use in web design.
You can hide frames, show hide frames. By the way, at this. So So you can set them, for instance, to initially closed and then disclose them by pushing a button or something, and then suddenly show a certain frame. Okay, you can allow closing them, yes or no. So if I allow closing, I can close this one. And how do I show them again? Yeah, damn it. Sorry, I'm a bit lost. I knew it and I forgot it. But let me show you. I'm gonna update. So this frame can be closed now. And you can also steer that dynamically using buttons and calculations. Yes, you were first.
Everything that you're doing here is being safe where?
Excuse me.
Everything that you're doing here is being safe where? Because it's a Claris. So where's safe? Where's being saved? In a server or where?
AWS.
In the cloud on the Claris server.
Oh,
It's not
Claris.
on-premise, and there's currently no on-premise version of Studio, and I believe it will not be there soon.
Okay.
Because they are iterating very fast, but they won't be able to do that anymore if people have on-premise installation and so on. So they have talked a lot about it in the beginning, making it available on-premise. I'm hearing less and less talks, and I understand why, because I love the space that's for that, which this is.
This is my first introduction to Studio. Very impressive, but it seems like WebDirect can do a lot more. It would take longer to do it, but there's a lot more available.
Yes.
So Studio is still a work in progress.
Yeah. Video is still a work in progress, still very basic. You get those building blocks. You cannot customize chart colors yet, but I'm quite impressed with those building blocks and the way they make very powerful things very easy to use. We literally built this dashboard in 45 minutes.
Do you think the future iterations will allow more scripting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm definitely sure about that, but how long will it take? I don't know. I believe there are Claris people in the room, so we could ask them.
I'm not really pleased to answer that, but yeah. So I believe for now, we are not intending to replace macOS Studio. So Studio now, Studio won't be replacement. But so I know that you feel that FileMaker can do a lot more, but yeah, it's not like that right now.
Look at those diagrams from this morning, that T diagram. So it fills a need, but it's not filling all the needs we feel probably. Oh, a lot of questions. We are running over time, so feel free to stay. Feel also free to walk out. Thank you very much.